Alright, and so now I'm gonna start the Mainstreet Coliseum, and this is battles 1 and 2, and you can pick between your custom and your rental passes below, and I'm gonna use my rental pass just because then more people who don't have Diamond and Pearl or are just using the rental passes for fun will be able to maybe, I don't know, use the strategies. And you don't need to do Gateway yet because it's really not required and you can only use rental passes, just so you know. And so this trainer has Chimchar, Ponyta, Butterfree. It's got a lot of um, electric weaknesses. It's got flying weaknesses and water weaknesses. So use any of those types because you'll probably have some pretty good covering on it. Main Street's a pretty easy Coliseum. It's actually the easiest one in the game, I would say. It's single battles, and so yeah, and so I start off with Pidgeot just because it can take down a lot of them, and he starts off with a Chimchar, and so I hit it for pretty good damage, and so Chimchar tries to Ember me, and he gets a critical hit here, which doesn't do that much, which is kind of pathetic. And so I just used Facade or Facade, or I don't know really how you say it. I might pronounce some stuff wrong. So he uses that, and then Chimchar goes down. And so next out comes Pidgeotto, which is the lower evolve of Pidgeot. And so there's not really that much resistance from Pidgeotto, just because it's the lower evolve. And so Pidgeotto uses Substitute, which it takes a quarter of its own HP, and then until it gets hit by an attack move, it can keep on attacking behind the Substitute. And so I hit the Substitute with a Facade. And so that gets rid of the Substitute, and see, it takes the hit for it so it doesn't get any damage. And so now Pidgeotto's back out by itself. It uses Twister, which is just pathetic. Did probably 10 damage. And so I go for the Aerial Ace. Yeah, Aerial Ace. And so Pidgeotto quick attacks just as a desperate attempt to get another move off before it goes down. And so I just use Aerial Ace to finish it off. These trainers are pretty weak. They don't require really any strategy. You can just beat them down with some brute force. Alright, and now his last Pokemon is Farfetch'd, which is a flying and normal type, so I don't have anything super effective, so I just go for the Aerial Ace. And it does a good amount of damage. Another hit should take it down. And so it uses Air Cutter, and it gets a critical hit, which takes my Pidgeot down. And so now I have Dragonair and Wartortle left. And so I look at Dragonair's moves, and it has Shockwave, which is electric. So I'm going to bring out him and use Shockwave on Farfetch'd, which should finish off the battle. And so that's the first trainer down. And so now we're going to get ready for the next battle. And so after you win a battle, you'll be confronted with 3 options. Continue, which is just go on to the next battle. Quick Save, which means that you can stop playing Battle Revolution for a bit. And then there's Retire, which means that you can give up your challenge. So now we're facing 3 brothers Eric, who has a terrible name, like most of the people in this game. And he's got a lot of Pokemon that'll go down by flying again, so I think I send out Pidgeot first. Yeah, pretty sure. And so I'm looking at Rhyhorn's moves. He's not very good. He doesn't have very good moves. And then the only thing you really have to worry about is a Nose Pass. He can get in the way of Pidgeot taking him out, or a flying type. So you want to probably have a flying and a water or grass, really, and maybe an ice too, just to take out Vibrava and Nosepass, who aren't taken down by the flying type. So Eric, who, I don't get it, 3 brothers, yet there's only one of them, sends out Vibrava, and so I just decide to Aerial Ace it. And I'm pretty sure it does a good amount of damage. Yeah, it gets it down to about a little bit over half. And then Vibrava uses Sandstorm, which it'll hurt anyone. It'll do a little bit of damage to anyone that isn't a Steel, Ground, or Rock type. And so I get hit a little bit by the Sandstorm, but it's no big deal at all. And so I just Aerial Ace it to finish it off again. Pretty boring. And so now, this is where the battle got a little bit annoying. And this battle was actually really just boring because he just stalled it and drawed it out as long as he could. So he brings out Nosepass, which I really didn't want him to use. So I just decided to switch over to Ivysaur. So I look at Ivysaur's moves real quick. So I shift him. And Ivysaur, who is grass and poison, comes out. And so it uses Thunder Wave, which I totally didn't expect or even think it would have. And so I get paralyzed. And so I'm still getting hit by Sandstorm. And Nosepass was actually a good choice because it doesn't get hit by Sandstorm. So it's going first because I'm paralyzed. And it Rock Tombs me, which does a tiny bit of damage. And my speed goes down. So one thing you gotta watch out for is Nosepass has a ton of defense. So you gotta hit it with hard attacks. Like my Magical Leaf barely even brought it down. Especially because if Sandstorm is going, it'll get extra defense. Now it uses Tackle, which is such a stupid move. Like it literally does 5 damage. So I use Magical Leaf again, and I think that takes it out. Yeah, it does. And so then it spazzes out, and then it dies, and then it faints. And so he's down to his last Pokemon. And now out comes Lombre. Lombre is grass and water, which is kind of an annoying typing. He's not really good, he's just more of an annoying. And so I used Leech Seed, but I didn't realize, because I knew that he was going to fake out, and it didn't really matter, so. And so then I flinch, and I use Magical Leaf on him. And so then he uses Fury Swipes, which is like tiny hits, but they can actually pack a little bit of damage if it's a strong Pokemon using it. And so Ivysaur uses Magical Leaf, hits him for normal, and it does an okay amount, but it's going to take more than 2 hits to take him out. And I accidentally hit Leech Seed right there. Lombre is pretty dumb and uses Fake Out. And so Leech Seed doesn't affect Lombre, because it doesn't work on grass Pokemon. So it uses Fury Swipes again, just trying to, I guess that's its strongest move, which is kind of sad, but. So it's getting pretty unlucky, it's only hitting 2 times, and then I'm paralyzed, can't move. So now it starts using Water Sport, which is completely retarded. And so I get paralyzed again. And so I decided, I just want to end this quick, so I decided to bring in Pidgeot because Aerial Ace is super effective on it. And so it Water Sports again, which fails though. So, because Fire's power was already weakened last turn. So Lombre tries to use Fake Out again, but I don't think the trainer realizes that you can only use it on the first turn that Pokemon is in. And so Aerial Ace basically ends that battle. And so, yeah, those are the first 2 battles on Mainstreet Coliseum, and expect to see more soon.